The state of New Jersey has barred landlords from looking at the criminal backgrounds of tenants. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. All right, so I have a great story for you today out of New Jersey. But before I get into it, go ahead, hit that like and subscribe button. And I'm going to work to keep bringing you great articles about things of interest to landlords, okay? And especially the eviction moratorium. This information, it's important. We have to get it out there. All throughout the country, there's a ton of things going on with landlords right now that's very important, and we really have to band together and make it known that, hey, we're not getting through this easily. So anyway, this article comes from thecrimereport.org, and it says, New Jersey bill bars landlords from investigating criminal backgrounds. On Thursday, New Jersey lawmakers approved a landmark bill that bars landlords from asking about criminal convictions on housing applications, marking a major step in a years-long effort to create a system where people's past mistakes do not perpetually derail them, reports the New York Times. New Jersey's bill, which sets fines as high as $10,000 and establishes mechanisms for investigating landlords who rely only on criminal background checks to reject would-be renters, is considered the most sweeping of its kind. Offenders who are able to secure stable housing upon release are considered less likely to commit new crimes. Yeah, they're opening up a can of worms with this legislation. And I'm sure they don't realize it. It's one of those things. It's like they have good intentions. They're like, oh, we're going to help these people reintegrate into society by making sure that they can't be rejected by landlords. Well, there are a lot of criminal convictions that are of deep concern to the grand majority of landlords. And they don't even think about the fact that, hey, we're running a business here. We want to make money. We want to put the best tenants in our properties possible. And maybe that isn't the case when we are talking about people who have all these criminal convictions or who are getting out of prison, okay? The bill does allow landlords to conduct criminal background checks after granting prospective tenants conditional approvals, but they may no longer factor in most crimes committed long ago, and the so-called look-back window decreases with the severity of the crime. Landlords, for example, may consider first-degree crimes for 6 years after release from prison when deciding on applicants, but fourth-degree crimes may only be used as a factor for either a year after a person's release from custody or if they are not sentenced to jail or prison time, the date of conviction. In denying an applicant, landlords must explain why and offer applicants a chance to present mitigating circumstances. The bill applies only to multifamily apartment buildings with 5 or more units. Well, now I know they threw that in there thinking, okay, we're going to make it only apply to 5+ unit multifamily apartment buildings. Well, that's not really helpful at all. You're making it actually worse. I personally would prefer to, if you're going to put a criminal into a thing, not have them terrorizing the other tenants in the building, okay? So, when it comes down to it, the whether you allow people with criminal history into your property or not, that should be up to the individual landlord. I know that I have tenants in my properties who have some criminal history, and I made that judgment on my own to allow people into my property with some sort of criminal history. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? And taking that away from the landlord, taking that away from the property owner, it's not right. I believe that the landlord should have the final determination of whoever gets to live inside their property, because they're the ones who have to pay all the bills and they're the ones who have to fix the problems if things go wrong. Now, looking at what they say here, they're talking about you have a window, you can look back up to 6 years for first-degree crimes. Well, they're going to have to put out a list of what exactly first-degree crimes are, because I don't know. I work in law enforcement now. I don't even know what first-degree crimes are. And then fourth-degree crimes may only be looked at for a year afterwards. So to even know that the person has these sort of crimes on their background, that means the landlord is still able to do a background check. Okay, so they haven't prevented background checks for landlords yet, and that kind of is another situation, because I know if I was put into a situation where they said, okay, now you can't look at this person's background history, but you can run their background check. I run somebody's background and they have certain criminal convictions on there, and I don't want them to stay on my property, I still wouldn't allow them in. I just wouldn't tell them that they got rejected because of, their criminal background, and I'm sure other landlords are the same way. State law or not, they're just not going to be vocal about the things that they're doing. They're just going to reject the people and not tell them the true reason. So what kind of crimes am I talking about that they might not be super severe, but I would still reject a tenant for? I mean things like theft. Okay, if I look into your background and I see multiple shoplifting convictions, well, I know you're a thief. Okay, and in my opinion, I don't care if the stuff was 2 or 3 years ago. If it's only a fourth degree crime, I don't care, because I know if I put a thief into my property, I could get stolen from, my other tenants could get stolen from, and that's just not cool. Okay, what other kind of crimes do I not want? I don't want people in my property who are drug users. Okay, I don't want people up here selling or buying drugs or bringing drugs up into my property for any reason. I don't care if it's only considered a minor crime. Okay, I've rejected plenty of tenants because of past drug use convictions, because I don't like drug use. I don't like drugs, and I especially don't want them in my property and the issues that they bring. Okay, so if I remember I did a background check on one of my tenants, and they had an attempted methamphetamine possession conviction, and it was just a misdemeanor. But I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, why would I want to put a meth head, a person who I know has used meth in the past, even though it was over a year ago, why would I want to put this person into my property? I would not. Okay, so instant denial. Another tenant that I tried to put in my property, they actually had a conviction for theft, and the people they had stolen from was their previous landlord. Okay, one of their previous landlords they had stolen from. Are you freaking kidding me? I mean, instant denial. I just reject them immediately. Yet, it's my discretion. It's my property. At least in the states where I operate, it's perfectly fine to deny tenants because of their criminal backgrounds. Okay, and I don't feel sorry for those people. Sorry that no, I'm not sorry. Sorry. But you did the crime. You have to face the consequences. That's the fact. And too bad, so sad. That's what they say. I'm not sorry.